there, folks. Welcome back to Funny Papers. This is your old buddy Dustin, and I'm back for another episode of Funny Papers. It's been a while. It really has. And you can gripe about that. That's fine. You deserve it. For me, I have no good excuse for my lack of episodes, and to be quite honest with you, it's I don't know if it's maybe you can call it a midlife crisis. My birthday was in mid-October, and I don't know, there was something about the day that just kind of changed the way I felt, and I kind of have to, and I'm on the train right now of reevaluating what I'm doing with my life. In your 30s, I don't know. It's like I said, it's a midlife crisis. It's a little early to say it's a midlife crisis, but that's how I'm feeling. I'm just kind of going through things, and a lot of people are going through things. So I'm not on that train on my own, and there's a lot of people. And this isn't a shout out for any kind of self-pity or anything like that. It's just the way it is. So. But since I talked to you last, I took a trip out to California, like a road trip. I decided that the best way to do this kind of travel was to jump in a car and drive where I wanted to go. It worked out well. It was a very long trip. I mean, in terms of driving, it's about a 14 and a half to 15 hour drive to Los Angeles, and I went out and met my good buddy John Wassel, who you've heard before, and it was a great trip. Great memories were made. In fact, we spent some time. We filmed a little music video, and aside from that, just kind of hung out and had a good time. It was relaxing, and it was a good week of decompression. Followed by mornings of recovery, if you can catch my drift there. Anyway, I'm back now, and trying to get back into a routine again, at least with this show, and maybe changing up some sort of format in some ways. I'm experimenting, and you'll be your first-hand witness to this experimentation. The show is still going to be somewhat the same, just with maybe this little added portion, which my YouTube people will see firsthand. And if you're listening just to my voice right now, thanks for coming in. But I urge you to go check out the YouTube channel, because things have changed just a little bit. I'm winking. I'm not a very good winker, actually. That's not how you wink. Well, maybe it is. Is that the discreet wink? Not sure. Oh, post your comments and give me some tips on how to actually wink. That'd be very helpful. So I've got a stack. Because, as you know, it's been a few weeks. So I've kind of got a backlog of funny papers to get after. So I can really kind of pick and choose right now. But you know what? I'm going to go with what it's my instinct. I'll go with the top of the page, very top of the page of the most recent one, which was this Sunday, October 18th. And I'm just gonna jump into it. What the hell? I haven't read this one yet, but we'll see how it goes. And it's the pickles, full color pickles, as you can see. The pickles is by Brian Crane. Now we start with Opal and Earl in the living room, and Earl's sitting on an armchair. His hands are kind of clasped together, and he's got one leg kind of over the other, just kind of hanging out. And sitting next to him next to his armchair is his good old buddy Roscoe. And Opal's walked in and she's got her regular kind of like purple polka dotted like muumuu dress. We've had a little debate whether or not that's a muumuu or not, and I don't think it is, but it's purple polka dotted house dress. But she's got her regular kind of white apron on, and she's wearing like these pink bunny slippers, kind of cute. But Opal's got her hands on her hips, and she's looking at Earl, who's sitting there. And by the way, Earl's sitting there with mismatched socks. He's got a white sock and kind of like a maroon red sock on. Yeah, it must be a lazy day because he's mismatched his socks. But with her hands on her hips, Opal asks, "Why do you have two different color socks on, Earl?" Now we cut a little closer to Earl, who's looking up and responding to Opal, and he says, "One of the mates had a hole in it, so I threw it away." Yeah, we cut back to Opal, who's responding now, looking down at Earl, still sitting in his armchair, by the way. And she says, "I see. So if a mate wears out, you just get rid of it, do you?" Yeah. Well, Earl's looking up at her again, and he's coming back. This is an old couple. They're bickering over kind of the most menial of things, but that's what makes them special. Earl comes back and he says, "Are we still talking about socks here?" And now Opal's kind of gesturing with her hand. You can see she's kind of waving it back and forth like she's making a point. Looking at Earl, and she says, "If one sock wears out, you don't match up the good sock with some other random sock. That's just wrong." She's left the room, I guess. She's just a little disgusted with Earl's mismatched socks, I guess. But Earl, looking down at his dog Roscoe, sitting there wagging his tail, happily looking up at Earl. Earl says to him, and he says, "I had no idea she felt so strongly about infidelity among socks." And there's the pickles. Now, I have to disclose the fact that I cannot and will not wear mismatched socks. I generally buy and have the socks that are made by the same brand and usually about the same size, same fit, and all that. But if they don't match perfectly, I will not mismatch socks. It's to me, it just doesn't make sense. I feel like I'd be thinking about it all day long, knowing I have mismatched socks on. And like I said, I buy the same type. You'd probably never know they were different, but I do, I suppose. I can just tell by kind of their weight and the way they feel that perhaps one pair of socks is older than others. And there's absolutely no way that I would ever mismatch my socks. I don't actually organize my sock drawer like a lot of people do. I know a lot of people probably take their socks and will roll them up so they're a couple together. I've never done that. I don't know why. I just growing up, I think my mother used to do that. When we had laundry done, she'd ball them up together. I don't do that now. It's not a habit I've ever fallen into in my more mature years. But I'm ever the bachelor, as you guys know. Yeah, well, socks are funny. Socks are funny. And there is a time where a sock just plays out its time. It's been worn too much, and it's just time for the old heave ho, as they say. The old heave-ho. What? Yeah, heave-ho. Isn't that funny? I've always thought that was funny when he said, it's time to throw something out, give it the old heave-ho. Okay, I just turned it over. I just turned the page over, actually. And this one actually is, jumps out. It's pretty well, the illustrations on it's pretty funny. I'm not sure what's going to happen in it, but it's our old buddies from Pearls Before Swine. And you know how much I like them. But yeah, Pearls Before Swine is by Stefan Pastis. And the beginning frame is kind of titled The Life of O Pig. O Pig. By Rat. Okay. The Life O Pig by Rat. Don't know, maybe Rat's kind of giving his take on pigs. Pig's life. We'll see. We start with, and it's actually illustrated differently. It's actually a little more, it looks like probably Rat's illustrating this comic strip on this one. So Stefan Pastis is kind of taking a, I don't know what you would say. He's taking a character and allowing his character to illustrate and describe his strip. But of course, you know that Rat is actually kind of probably some sort of extension or some sort of projection of himself in any way. So at any rate, Rat's illustrating Pig, and he's walking along in that usual kind of like green grassy field that we always see for Pearls Before Swine, and Pig's holding a big cardboard box, and written on the face of the cardboard box it says, Box O' Hope. Box O' Hope. And Pig, as he's walking along, trips over a rock. Trip! And he drops the Box O' Hope, and it hits the ground and bounces. But that doesn't deter Pig. He's picked the box back up, even though it's got a big old crumple in the corner of the Box of Hope. But he's picked it back up, and he's chugging along, carrying that box. As he's going, he runs squarely into a branch off a tree, and it just skewers the box, pokes a big hole in it, and snaps it off. Snap! And as that's happened, Pig's kind of taken a tumble because he's kind of snagged that branch and gone down to the ground, but that hasn't stopped him either. He's picked up that Box of Hope again, and he's carrying it along, even with its crumpled up corner from the first drop and the big old stab from the tree limb. And if he's walking along happily, and looks like he's kind of started to cross the street, and a red box truck has come barreling down the road, and just he struck Pig. Whump! And Pig in that Box of Hope has gone rocketing over the top of the truck. They've been struck by the truck. That's kind of crazy, but the box is... Pig looks okay. He looks like he's got through that hit and run without much damage, but the box has sustained a little more damage. Now it is absolutely destroyed. It's from its first drop where it crumpled the corner to the tree limb that stabbed it, and now a truck that's essentially ran it over. But he's walking across a bridge, still carrying the Box of Hope, and you know what? Pig's got a good look. He's got a smile on his face, a good outlook on life, it appears. I guess because he's carrying that Box of Hope. But he's walking across this suspension bridge, and all of a sudden the bridge snaps in half. Crack! And Pig and his Box of Hope are starting to tumble down this canyon. The bridge is broken, and he's fallen along with his completely destroyed box. But as Pig has been through this entire ordeal, he picks himself back up along with his box of hope and continues on, and Pig's still got that smile on his face. He's fine. But the box of hope is an absolute disaster. It's nothing but a pile of shredded cardboard. You can't even read the title Box of Hope on it anymore. He's just carrying a pile of disintegrated cardboard and paper and whatever. But now we cut completely. We're back to, well, I don't know if it's reality, but we see there's three of them. There's Rat, Goat, and Pig, and they're sitting at a desk, and they've got coffee cups in front of them, and Rat's got a pen in his ear. It looks like he's kind of writing, or in the process of writing. He's got a piece of paper in front of him, and Goat's looking down at a sheet of paper. And next to him, it looks like Pig's kind of reconstructing that box of hope. He's kind of taping cardboard back together. And Rat's the first one to speak up. He says, "It's hard not to admire." And Pig, as he's tearing pieces of scotch tape away, taping his box back together, says, "Just a little tape here and a little tape there." So, that's Pearls Before Swine. I see the message in it. Maybe, I hope you do too. Little tape here, little tape there. And that is good to admire, And I was kind of jumping into my pity pot at the beginning of this show, saying that things have changed, and I was kind of in somewhat of a crisis myself. This was bringing me back out, and actually, getting on mic right now is helping me more too. And the message behind this Pearls Before Swine is great. Pig was carrying that box of hope. That box of hope started out pristine. Not a scratch or a dent on that box. But something came up. Something came up, and he tripped on a rock and dropped that box of hope. And it may have gotten a little ding in it, may have gotten crumpled a little in the corner, but Pig picked himself back up and kept carrying that box of hope. Even though he stumbled upon another little pitfall where he kind of jabbed it into a tree branch and fell down again. And it kept going, He even got hit by a truck. And that box of hope, on the outside looked worse and worse, but Pig's attitude towards carrying that box of hope never changed. He continued to pick that box up and keep going. That's a great, good one. That's a good one. That makes you think, there's a lot of, this year has not been easy for anybody. And you got to think of everything as maybe carrying that box of hope. Every time something comes along, it just, when you trip and fall, pick that box of hope back up and keep going. Because, this year's gonna, things move on, things are gonna get better. Things could get worse, of course, Don't forget about that. I don't forget about that. Things may not get better, but yeah, keep carrying that box of hope. How cool. I like that. That's a show title. This is the Box of Hope episode. I hope you guys all take that with you. Box of hope. You know what? I'm going to do more episodes and shorter ones, kind of like this. I felt like that actually was a very good wrap up the Box of Hope. So I'm going to leave it at that. Talk about it's just a good thing to leave you guys with. So keep up that Box of Hope. You've got it. I know you do. And I know, I do too. We're all in this together, my friends. Thanks for coming back in. I know it's been a little while. but there'll be more to come. I promise you that. And if you're new to the show, make sure to subscribe to the show. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And I've heard people say, you watch people on YouTube, they say subscribe to the playlist, or whatever they say. I guess I'm not that good at it, but subscribe and hit that bell, whatever that means. I think the bell alerts you when I upload new content. So all that jazz. Do all that jazz. And if you're not familiar with the channel or the show, there's also the website funnypapershow.com. Go on there, and there's also an opportunity to comment on episodes. And that's the way the show grows. It's the only way I know. So, thanks for joining me, and until next time, my friends, I'll see you in the Funny Papers.